I am going to be reading a paper I had written over a period of time concerning globalization and its consequences. The purpose of this video is to express my views to those people who are concerned with the United States and its future. I read the paper every day and I listen to broadcast news every evening. Whether it is local news or world news, 90% of the time it is negative. The subject matter of the news consistently deals with human beings or groups of human beings perpetrating an injustice on another human being or group. Just to list a few of these crimes being committed are kidnapping, physical and mental abuse, murder, misuse of power, terrorism, political scandal, corporate scandal, church scandal, and on and on. I wonder how all of these crimes and negative news reporting affects us all. Globally, crimes against one another has increased dramatically over the last 25 to 30 years. This brings me to the subject question I present to those who view this video. Is there a connection between globalization and society's unrest, and has it contributed to a more unruly, inhumane world society in which peaceful coexistence cannot prevail? Let us look at what has happened. A majority of our world leaders prescribe to a globalization of trade. The economic theories which support a globalization of trade is based upon basic supply and demand principles of cheaply produced products and services with a minimal percent of cost attributable to labor. Keep in mind that labor costs plus benefits can range from 45 to 75% of costs to produce a product or provide a service. Educational service costs are at the higher end. Since the 80s, corporations have been shifting their manufacturing services to those human resource markets where there is an abundance of labor. This occurrence was a result of products and services produced in a national market no longer provided enough corporate profits, and that national borders confined the corporations to limited demand for their products and services. The political leaders of all nations, at the behest of domestic and international corporations, had to enter into international trade agreements and national alliances whereby products produced in one nation can freely flow to other nations without tariff, hence agreements such as NAFTA and the creation of the European Union. The competitiveness for profits changed the balance of power in the world. The United States, once the greatest economic power in the world, had found itself on a playing field with reduced advantage. The solution prescribed began in the 80s. Produce products and provide services in cheap labor markets, legislate trade agreements beneficial to corporations, and begin the outsourcing of labor to cheap labor markets. This accelerated with the technological revolution in the 90s. If you don't believe me, when you shop at Walmart, check the manufacturer's country of origin, or when you call a customer service number, find out what country the representative is working out of. I coined the phrase downsizing of American payroll in 1989 because of my own personal downsizing. This reduction of compensation and recycling of American employees was necessary to compete with international labor markets whose salaries were substantially below the U.S. labor market. It has been called War on the Middle Class by Lou Dobbs of CNN recently in his new book. I believe it to be more serious than that. Employees who were downsized found themselves in the U.S. labor markets where the same paying jobs no longer existed. Employees had one of two options: take a similar job at less money, or start a new profession in a lower salary. A lose-lose situation. I would like to point out that this process includes the equalization of the American middle class to the middle class worldwide at much lower American compensation levels. The reports on salaries, wages, and benefits substantiate my comments. The Employee Cost Index in 2001 increased 16.2%. In 2005, it only increased 12.2%, a decline of 20% over 5 years. Adding to the dismal wage picture is the increase in benefits costs, 19.5% in 2001 and 20.4% in 2005, a 4.6% increase in 5 years, which are included in the Employee Cost Index. Wages and salary rates of increased have declined 32% over the last 5 years. These statistics were obtained at the Department of Labor Bureau of Labor and Statistics. The continuation of these trends in the United States will result in the elimination of the middle class. Expendable income will decline to its minimum, as a result in the increasing cost to live. Health insurance, home insurance, and property taxes have now become the major cost in our personal budgets. The poor population will grow dramatically. Government social programs will be taxed, and they will be bankrupt, and a greater burden will be put on the taxpayer. The middle class who pay the government's deficits won't exist. The unbalanced distribution of wealth within our world society has caused the masses to react. In the world today, the United States and Western societies are being blamed for everything that is wrong in the world. Western societies have permitted the deterioration of undeveloped nations' socio-economical systems by allowing corrupt rulers to pillage the national resources of the region, and therefore we are the reciprocator of their hatred. People kill people in the name of religion. Of course, this isn't new in history, but I believe that this resurgence of religious wars has been brought about by the globalization of trade and the redistribution of wealth worldwide. Anti-Western organizations, militias, terrorist groups, and countries use the media to exploit the masses. The local media has a major influence on its masses. The media's first purpose is to report the facts, yet it has transgressed to form opinions in the minds of its viewers at the request of local governments and special interests. Call it brainwashing if you'd like to. An example of this is Al Jazeera in the Middle East. This is a network whose main purpose is to slant information against Western societies and to instigate anger against anything that is Western origin. This, combined with the Iraq War, has developed a mindset where the objectives of every non-Western nation seeks revenge against Western civilization. Media influence does not only apply to non-Western nations. Our Western media is used to influence where we shop, what we buy, and how we eat, and yes, how we vote. Our two political parties have manipulated the media since the 50s. The question is, why do less than 50% of registered voters in the United States refuse to vote? The answer is very simple. They don't trust the system and truly believe that they can't make a difference. They believe their vote doesn't count. So the results of our two-party system is to choose the lesser of two evils or not vote at all. Of those who do vote, they vote party affiliation. The so-called undecided voter chooses the lesser of two evils in their minds. The country winds up with leaders who are not qualified and controlled by special interests and who protect their own interests. The big question is, who will be a man of the people, for the people, and does such a person exist in this country? We are headed for a dismal future if we do not make changes here in this country, and we need to start at the top, changing the leadership who set the morale, the morals, and the course for this country. If we refuse to vote, we refuse to control our destiny. Thank you.